Unfortunately we didn't have a direct hit and able to get into the tunnel, but we may have come down beside it. I think so, yes, if we just came down on the edge of it. Today is the last day, there's no question about it. From the acquisition of a permit that could change the tides of the search for one of the most elusive treasures in human history to the different challenges these treasure hunters had to face to bring their dreams to life. Here's how Rick Lagina's crew hit the jackpot after selling the Oak Island treasure for millions. Has there ever been a time that someone has not been looking for treasure on the mysterious Oak Island? For more than 200 years now, hordes of men have sailed across the ocean just so that they can give this search for this mysterious treasure a shot. Alas, we find that even in 2024 we have the likes of the Lagina brothers and the Curse of Oak Island treasure hunting crew who are hoping to make the most of what modern technology has to offer so that they can find this legendary haul. Considering the fact that this treasure hunting team has spent more than a decade looking for this treasure so far, we can see how daunting such a task may be. Probably that is why the fans remain glued onto the television set when the History Channel broadcasts the show. Whatever the case may be, we know that there are many who give their support to the Lagina brothers and the treasure hunting crew. The permit and the treasure trove license in one of the many treasure hunting exercises being carried out by the Lagina brothers and their team. The group was a bit upbeat about the matter, and because they had just acquired this permit that would let them keep most of all the treasure that they found while they were on Oak Island. Brother, I know this is really quite inspiring. Yeah, really is quite a trip back in time. It's pretty amazing. Oh, absolutely. With the government now only being entitled to a small percentage of said treasure, the team was even more motivated to be the ones who succeeded where many others have failed. At the very least, this new special permit will give them the encouragement to invest even more time and energy into the search for the mysterious treasure of Oak Island. Thinking about it now though, this encouraging news may actually show how this search is about much more than just finding wealth. This is a chance to leave a strong legacy as the ones who brought the legend of the treasure of this mysterious island to an end. That said, it looked as though there may be other things to consider when it comes to the search for this treasure on this island. For some, they had even become more wary about some of the more dangerous elements that may be found on this peculiar island. As daunting as such fears may be, the team decided that what they needed to do was just follow the principles of what is known as the treasure trove license. As we hinted at earlier, this is the license that would lay out the rules and procedures as to what would happen in the instance that these guys actually unearthed the mysterious treasure of Oak Island. What is interesting is it's surrounded on the back, yeah, and the flat side, yeah. Here it comes, can kind of hurt. You have to look at it looking down. Just as we mentioned earlier, those who are able to get this license will be able to keep most of what they find, 90% of it to be exact. The remaining 10% is given to the government. At the end of the day, such policies achieved their goal of encouraging people to invest their time and other resources in searching for treasure on such a place as Oak Island. Understandably, such policies are quite enticing to many treasure hunters. As a result, it is allowed that the Lagina brothers and their crew were dreaming about a massive payout should they ever find the treasure that is believed to be buried somewhere on Oak Island. With that in mind, the possibility of getting such a great payout if they should find this treasure encouraged the Lagina brothers and their crew to acquire a ton of expensive equipment, the experts that would help them run such state-of-the-art equipment and technology, while also making sure that they tirelessly push on with the search for the treasure. Sure, there will be a ton of challenges in the way despite all these resources available to them, but the thought of getting pretty much all of the proceeds of the treasure was just too much for them to ignore. They were going to find that treasure whether they liked it or not. That said, we must be reminded that the treasure trove license wasn't just a money-making scheme. It was actually a way to make sure that the society benefits from these treasure hunting exercises. That is why they made sure that they took 10% of the proceeds of whatever is found by these treasure hunters. By doing so, they would be making sure that most of the historical and cultural value of what the team discovers along the way will be preserved for everyone and many other generations to come. At the very least, this means that a decent chunk of the treasure would actually be exhibited in museums in lieu of that they could also be used for some projects that are aimed at educating the public on the cultural and historical significance of said treasure. Speaking of cultural and historical significance of this treasure, you'd find that some of these treasure hunters, just like our Lagina brothers, work hand in hand with archaeologists and historians. Sometimes this is the only way that they can make sense of some of the information that they come across during their search for treasure. It is also a way to make sure that the search for this hidden treasure does not result in the destruction of the environment. As such, you cannot underestimate how important the payment of this 10% of treasure is. Furthermore, this levy also makes sure that these treasure hunters are working within the legal limits set out by the law. As such, it shows the government and the rest of the world that they are not there to stir up any trouble. Another way that they could convince the world that they are working responsibly while searching for the treasure that is rumored to be hidden on Oak Island is by following a set of rules that are set out in the treasure trove license. With such a system in place, we are certain that the hunters would find that they are working in an environment that encourages treasure hunting while making sure that the interest of the public in the environment is protected. Looking at the situation at hand, one would find that the way that they are doing things on Oak Island may be one of the best examples out there on how to pull such an operation off. After all, it is best for everyone if both the treasure hunters and the community benefit from this search for treasure. Let's also remember this TV show, that is the Curse of Oak Island TV show, has brought the public's attention to the many challenges that these treasure hunters have to endure just so that they could have but a slither of a chance of finding this legendary treasure. Just off the bat, you can only imagine the amount of legal, financial and sometimes ethical dilemmas that the Lagina brothers and their team have to face on a daily basis. Thankfully, the treasure trove license is in place with it there to guide all parties involved. The treasure hunters are certain that they are not working in vain. They know that they would be entitled to the majority of the reward that comes with finding this treasure. There are no fears that one government agency or the other would just swoop in after they did all the hard work required to find this treasure. To make such a deal sweeter, they are also certain that their discovery will lead to the enrichment of the community one way or the other. Looking at it now, we can all be thankful for this license because it seems to provide people like the Lagina brothers and their team the perfect guide that would make sure that their treasure hunts are carried out in a responsible way. With such a system in place, some may say that Oak Island may be one of the best modern examples on how to create an effective treasure hunting system. Rick the treasure hunter, pretty neat, right? Some may say that such a system may have helped the likes of people like Rick Lagina as they set off on their own treasure hunt journey. We must remember that long before Rick became the famous treasure hunter that we see today, he was a postal worker that said he was still special because he was harboring a lifelong dream to head over to Nova Scotia so that he could give this treasure hunting dream a shot. We must remember that Rick was born in Kingsford, Michigan all the way back in 1952. Although he was born to a fairly normal life, he and his brother were happy to enjoy what life had to offer them. That is why he eventually settled for the life of a postal worker once he graduated from high school. This allowed him to travel all over the country as he followed a disciplined approach to his work. Despite such a routine regimen, he found that there was something that he just couldn't let go of: his inherent love for adventure and treasure hunting. You see, this love for treasure hunting all began in 1965 when he wasn't even a teenager yet. This was when he came across this fascinating article which told him all about the treasure hunting history of that magical place just off the coast of Nova Scotia. That place, of course, was the mysterious Oak Island. It told him all about the original money pit, a deep, well-protected shaft that is believed to be harboring some of the most valuable treasure that one could ever imagine. As you can see, such tales of hidden treasure that have eluded many for ages left a strong mark on the heart of this young boy. In fact, the impact was so strong that he carried it all the way to adulthood. Eventually, Rick would find that he would be able to bring his treasure hunting dreams into life. This chance to live out his dreams came when he decided to retire from the Postal Service in the 2010s. Soon he found that he and his brother were given the opportunity to create a show based on their treasure hunting quest by Prometheus Entertainment. This was no fluke, by the way. The entertainment company have been fans of their brothers and their work for some time now, and as such both parties knew that this was a great opportunity for them. Rick and Marty were especially well aware that they may never have a better chance than this to bring their childhood dreams to life. As you can imagine, the brothers and their team grasped the chance to bring the Curse of Oak Island TV show to our screens with both hands. We've all been there to watch as the Lagina brothers and their team went to work on searching for the mysterious treasure of this strange island by making use of the most advanced technology they could find. They were also keen to consult with the best experts in the required fields so that they could reveal some of the most mysterious secrets that were being kept hidden by the island. Over time, Rick saw that his role as one of the central figures of the show, as well as his capacity as one of the producers of the show, made him a celebrity in his own right. To be honest, that was only the natural result of the Curse of Oak Island developing into one of the most well-received shows all over the world. That said, we must say that people were not only watching the show just so that they could get a look at the older Lagina brother, they were also there to join in solving the mystery with their treasure hunting idols on the show. Be that as it may, there was no way that the fans could ignore the suave charm of Rick Lagina. All this admiration for Rick was a godsend for the show because it also resulted in the creation of a great perception of the show for those who tune in to watch it. Thanks to his collaboration with his brother, Rick saw that the rise of the Curse of Oak Island truly knew no bounds. Indeed, over time the popularity of the show eventually resulted in the creation of several spin-off shows. All these spin-offs also enriched the pockets of the Lagina brothers, and as such some could say life was good for the retired postal worker. That said, those who knew Rick knew that all these material things were nothing compared to his love for treasure hunting, history and exploration. When he isn't taking part in one of the many treasure hunting exercises on the island, you can actually see him reading one of his many historical books. Such behavior shows how much of an inquisitive mind that his man has. It also shows that he has a deep appreciation for craftsmen. With all these things in play, you can tell that Rick does all he can to remain a well-balanced man that just has a dream to become one of the most successful treasure hunters in the history of the game. Well, at least when it comes to Oak Island, if anything, Rick's transition from a postal worker to a celebrity shows us how life can change for us when we choose to follow our dreams. Sure, things can go airy, but surely sometimes we can make use of a lifetime of dreams and education. Maybe it is this embodiment of a dream that makes the Curse of Oak Island show so compelling to all who happen to tune in. At the very least, it shows us how we can still take control of our lives and chase our dreams at any point in our lives. Marty Lagina, the bro, though with his own dreams, whatever the case may be, it is clear that Rick may not have been able to pull this thing off without baby brother Marty by his side. Indeed, Marty proved to be an integral member of this treasure hunting team thanks to a lifetime of success in the world of business and energy and engineering. It all began when he completed his degree in mechanical engineering at the Michigan Technological University. Maybe the engineers watching this clip will tell us what is going on in the comment section, because it seems as though this is where Marty was able to hone his problem-solving skills to the point where we're not sure if the show would be where it is today without him. Either way, Marty would also use the knowledge he would gain from this engineering degree to carve out a successful career in the energy industry. After rising through the ranks in this industry, Marty decided to develop himself some more, so he decided to obtain a degree in law. He was even able to get his legal license in 1982. Tons Hose with such a degree in hand would be able to tell you how this proved to come in handy when he had to find his way through the complex rules and regulations that he would face during many of his business ventures. Over time, Marty would find that his time developing his skills in both disciplines would also prove to be a game changer when they face some of the many challenges they would find on the mysterious Oak Island. It must be noted that despite the fact that he also shared this love for treasure hunting with brother, Marty would find that his life would experience a sharp change when it was time to fulfill their childhood dreams. Once they got the chance to accept the deal from Prometheus Entertainment, there was no turning back. They were going to be famous as the world watched them track down the mysterious treasure of Oak Island on their TV screens. Curse of Oak Island TV show. The success again. The decision to embark on the Curse of Oak Island TV show proved to be a resounding success once it hit our TV screens. We could all notice that there was an increased interest in all things history and treasure hunting, much like his older brother Marty would realize that his involvement on the show would transfer him from an albeit successful businessman and lawyer to a TV star in his own right. Perhaps his rise as a celebrity was earned when the world saw how adaptable and flexible he was. Then again, maybe they were all just super impressed with his knowledge of all things engineering, law and business. They saw how all these skills and knowledge also helped him overcome the sometimes difficult challenges that he faced when he tried to track down the elusive treasure of Oak Island. Looking at the successful lawyer and businessman come celebrity treasure hunter, one can acknowledge that they are looking at the positive combination of brains and passion and how it could lead to a life of exciting adventures. At the very least, many professionals can look at Marty as an example of how they can make use of all their talents in a way that would give them fulfilling lives. Sometimes that is all that a man can ask for. Just look at how these men were able to make a success of the Curse of Oak Island TV show. Ever since it hit our TV screens, it has given the fans the perfect mix of history and adventure. Considering how successful the show eventually became, it should come as no surprise that everyone involved in the show got a ton of financial reward. Rick and Marty will be the first to tell you about how the show enriched their pockets. Not only did their contract with the show make them rich, it also made sure that it increased the amount of money that they could invest in the search for the treasure that is rumored to be hidden on Oak Island. As such, this decent amount of funding allowed them to use the best technology available to them to scour much of the island for this mysterious treasure. Furthermore, it allowed for the aforementioned spin-offs. We're talking about shows such as Beyond Oak Island and The Curse of Civil War Gold. Looking at the title of such shows, one can see how they promote themes centered around the search for historical treasures. Although they may not have found any of these treasures yet, it allows the Lagina brothers and their collaborators to expand the Oak Island brand into something that could be profitable for many years to come. Looking at it once more, one can say that the Curse of Oak Island TV show has made its own contribution to the world of history and archaeology. For starters, it has shown us all how important it is to preserve our history. It also shows how important it is to maintain respectable archaeological practices. If we don't, we may never be able to keep legends such as that relating to Oak Island for many generations to come. In turn, this has created a space in which many people can hold informed and enthusiastic discussions on all things concerning history and archaeology. It could also be the catalyst that would give rise to future historians and archaeologists, and for that we are forever grateful to the Lagina brothers and the Curse of Oak Island TV show. With that in mind, we are all keenly watching as the Lagina brothers take on the treasure hunting challenge that has presented itself on the strange and mysterious Oak Island. Sure, it has taken almost 2 centuries and a half, and it could even end up taking more centuries to sort out, but who knows, maybe we will be able to witness this bit of history when we watch the Lagina brothers unearth the mysterious treasure of Oak Island, from the acquisition of a permit that could change the tides of the search for one of the most elusive treasures in human history, to the different challenges these treasure hunters had to face.